On behalf of the board, I welcome everyone this evening and call this meeting of the Linn-Mar Community School Board District Board of Directors to order at 5 p.m. John, would you please determine a quorum?
Director Buckles?
Here.
Director Foss?
Yes.
Director Langston?
Here.
Director Mansour?
Here.
Director Maury?
Here.
Director Thomas?
Here.
President Lionel Lancaster?
Well, I'm here as well. All right, here we go. We are going to keep this meeting moving. I'm going to announce a number, and then I'll ask for action. After I do that, I ask that you put a pause in this and just, we're in no rush today, guys. So we are at item number 200, and we are asking at this time a motion to adopt the agenda with the removal of item 805.5 from the consent agenda. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
I have a motion by Britt. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Evan. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? The motion has carried. All right, item number 300, our district highlight moment. I now invite Carla and I invite Angela to come on up and introduce the recipients of this year's Lions Volunteer Awards. Ooh. You needed like some kind of like bum, 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 bum.
Thank you. Well, I am here tonight to present to the board the Lions Award winners that we have this year. These awards serve to highlight the excellence that exists in all areas, including service and job functions across the school district, by rewarding the accomplishments and achievements of our staff, community partners, and colleagues. Linn-Mar chooses to recognize and reward work and behaviors that support and further the mission, goals, values, and initiatives of the Linn-Mar Community School District. Nominees must have made a significant impact at Linn-Mar, as well as meet the respective criteria for selection. Across the district, employees, community partners, and colleagues may be nominated by anyone in the district, their respective school, department, or community members. These nominees are then submitted to the Linn-Mar Employee Recognition Committee to determine the winners from each category. And at this time, I'm pleased to announce to the board the 2026 Lions Award winners. So award winners, when I call your name, come on up here. I'm going to read a brief little paragraph, and then applause if we feel like we need to applaud. I hope we would. And then you can go and have a seat. When we're done with everyone, we will not have a group picture tonight, so you're free to leave, and we will see you again at the reception. Okay? First off, we have John Christian. He is the principal at Excelsior Middle School.
I'm just glad I don't have to follow the dog, so it's good.
Yes. John has won the Living Legend Award. He was nominated by Nicole Reddington and the Excelsior staff. We're proud to announce John Christian as the recipient of the Living Legend Award for Excellence in Leadership. With over 23 years of dedicated service at Linn-Mar, John is the embodiment of a servant leader who has transformed Excelsior Middle School into a community defined by purpose, unity, and growth. He's recognized for fostering a culture of trust and unity through his hands-on approach and open door policy. John has built a lasting legacy of growth and compassion. His unwavering belief in the potential of the Linn-Mar community truly makes him a living legend. Congratulations, John.
He's a two-time winner, right?
He is a two-time winner.
He won last year.
Yeah.
John, you're awesome.
Okay, moving on. Next up, we have Alyssa McDowell. She was with Venture Academics Coordinator at the Linn-Mar High School. Alyssa was nominated by Chad Lang. We're thrilled to present the Innovator Award for Excellence in Positive Change to Alyssa McDowell. Alyssa is recognized for her pivotal role in transforming the Venture Academics program into a high-quality, interdisciplinary learning model that connects students with meaningful, real-world opportunities. Through her visionary leadership, Alyssa has developed comprehensive systems that bridge the gap between academic learning and industry experience, including internships and credentialing pathways. By fostering strong partnerships, both within the district and the broader community, she has expanded access and created a lasting culture of innovation that empowers every student to reach their full potential. Congratulations, Alyssa. Thank you. Next up, we have Casey Robbins. Casey is an employment specialist at the Linn-Mar High School. She was nominated by Cat Power. We're pleased to honor Casey Robbins with the Innovator Award for Excellence in Positive Change. Casey is a visionary leader who has transformed the lives of students with significant disabilities by turning unmet needs into meaningful opportunities. Through her initiative and person-centered approach, she's built effective systems and community partnerships that lead to successful integrated employment and community job placements. Casey's known for modeling compassion and accountability across departments. Her measurable impact and unwavering belief in student potential has directly advanced the mission of the Linn-Mar Community School District. Congratulations, Casey. Next up, we have Jenny Rickles. Jenny is a teacher leader, innovation coach at Oak Ridge Middle School. She was nominated by Allison Adams and the Oak Ridge staff. We're proud to honor Jenny Rickles with an Optimizer Award for Excellence in Teamwork. Jenny is a detail-oriented leader at Oak Ridge who excels at transforming district vision into daily practice by streamlining systems and fostering a deep culture of collaboration. Jenny is recognized for her students-first philosophy and her ego-free approach to leadership, often working behind the scenes to create data tracking tools and resource libraries that allow her peers to thrive. Whether she's mentoring students, analyzing complex data, or celebrating a colleague's breakthrough, Jenny's dedication to collective success makes her the ultimate optimizer. Congratulations. Next up, we have Lexi Lander. No, she's here. She's not here this evening, so I'll just read for her. She is a student support services teacher at Westfield. She was nominated by Ashley Messerly. We're proud to present the newcomer Excellence in New Ideas Award to Lexi Lander. During her time at Linn-Mar, Lexi has demonstrated an exceptional dedication to her students by creating meaningful learning opportunities that empower them to succeed academically, socially, and independently. Lexi is recognized for her innovative thinking and her ability to collaborate effectively with general education teachers to ensure all students can thrive in inclusive environments. From modifying core curriculum to launching hands-on programs like the Coffee Cart to teach functional life skills, Lexi's passion for meeting the diverse needs of her learners has made an undeniable impact on the Westfield Elementary community. Congratulations to Lexi. Next up is Natalie Larimore. Natalie is a student support associate at the Linn-Mar High School. She's been nominated by Callie Richmond. We're honored to present the newcomer Excellence in New Ideas Award to Natalie Larimore. As a dedicated associate in the special education department, Natalie has distinguished herself through her extraordinary initiative, stepping up to provide consistency and structure during periods of transition. Natalie is recognized for her innovative approach to problem solving, creating schedules and training systems that have stabilized the classroom environment for both students and staff. Her dependability and willingness to go far beyond the expectations of her role to advocate for her students truly make her a standout newcomer to the Linn-Mar community. Congratulations. Next up is Deb Wegman. Deb is a media specialist at Hazel Point Intermediate. She was nominated by Jen Hames and Hazel Point teachers. We're pleased to announce Deb Wegman with the Service Excellence in Superior Performance Award. As the Hazel Point School Librarian, Deb consistently exceeds expectations by creating an environment where excellence and dedication inspire every student and staff member. Deb is recognized for transforming the library into a hub of creativity and connection through innovative programs like Connect 4 Tournament and Battle of the Books. Her proactive approach goes far beyond traditional library duties, from troubleshooting technology to anticipating every teacher's resource needs. Deb's tireless work ethic and genuine care for the well-being of her colleagues make her the heartbeat of the school culture. Congratulations, Deb. Next up is Brenda Sable. Brenda is a secretary at Compass Alternative Center. She was nominated by Courtney Albright. We're thrilled to present the Service Excellence and Superior Performance Award to Brenda. As a secretary for Compass Alternative Center for the past 15 years, Brenda is the heart of the school, consistently going far beyond her administrative duties to ensure every student has the support they need to succeed and graduate. Brenda is recognized for her tireless commitment to the Linn-Mar community, from managing daily school operations and student health needs to building deep, lasting connections with families. Whether she's making persistent phone calls that keep a student on track for graduation or volunteering her time at fine arts and athletic events, Brenda's compassion and superior dedication make her a vital asset to the district. Congratulations, Brenda. Next up, we have Keith Lowen and Tori Lee. They are bus driver and a bus rider team. I don't think they could be here tonight either. They were nominated by Carrie Fairley. We're honored to present the Lion Pride Award, Going the Extra Mile, to Keith and Tori. As a dynamic bus driver and attendant team, Keith and Tori have transformed the daily commute for their students into the highlight of the day, defined by joy, safety, and deep personal connection. Together, they go far beyond their traditional roles by fostering an environment where every student feels seen and supported, even spending their own resources to ensure children have what they need to be successful. From playing music that turns the bus into a dance floor to their tireless advocacy for student safety, Keith and Tori perfectly embody the Lion Pride spirit through their extraordinary compassion and dedication. Congratulations to Keith and Tori. Next up is Brittany Contreras. Brittany is a Student Services Administrative Assistant. She was nominated by Ann Faber. We are honored to present the Lion Pride Award, Going the Extra Mile, to Brittany. As a Student Services Administrative Assistant, Brittany truly bleeds red and black, serving as a model of innovation and professionalism who inspires confidence across all departments through her proactive leadership. Brittany is recognized for her transformative technical contributions, including the creation of a comprehensive emergency reunification system and a streamlined special education billing process. Beyond her technical expertise, she's a trusted culture builder who works not just for the system, but for the people within it. Her dependability, integrity, and relentless pursuit of excellence have created a lasting, meaningful impact on the future of the Linn-Mar community. Congratulations. Next up is Joyce Booth. Joyce is a student assistant specialist at the Linn-Mar High School. She was nominated by Kevin McCauley. It's an honor to recognize Joyce as the 2026 Shirley Pantini Award recipient. She is recognized for her unwavering commitment to equity, diversity, and student advocacy at Linn-Mar High School. Joyce has become a transformative force for student success, specializing in dropout prevention and providing individualized guidance to a caseload of over 200 students. Joyce's leadership has profoundly expanded opportunities for inclusion, most notably through her stewardship of the Allo Club, which has quadrupled in size under her guidance, and her founding of the Black Student Union. By organizing events like the Culture Fair and Black History Assembly, Joyce has elevated cultural awareness and unity across the entire district. Her work is defined by a deep belief in the potential of every student, helping many who once felt invisible to graduate with purpose and confidence. Congratulations. And this year we have a new category. We have one that's called the Possum Pride. This is my favorite. Sorry, John. This is my favorite one. We're bringing up Thule. Thule is a retired therapy dog at Wilkins. She was nominated by Nick Mulwinkle, her dad. We are positively delighted to celebrate Thule for receiving our Possum Pride Award. At Wilkins Elementary, Thule dedicated countless hours to the well-being of students and staff. Effectively, she has basically done everything for those kids. They love her. They think that she's just absolutely amazing. She did kind of slow down a little bit, so she got, I guess, replaced by her sibling. And also, we wanted to point out tonight for Thule, she had to put on a bigger vest. She's gained a little retirement weight, but we still love her. So we will enjoy Thule tonight and hopefully at the reception that's coming up. So congratulations, Thule. Next up is Angela and the volunteers.
Meredith. So Meredith Foreman, you got to come up next. I'm sorry you have to follow Tilly. Although I'm going to preface this one really quick that, you know how most colleges and universities do like the unveiling of the mascots and they're like, surprise. That's what I'm about to do right now is unveil Indian Creek's mascot. Our Above and Beyond Award recognizes those through their leadership that have significantly impacted our schools. Meredith Foreman has served multiple years as a volunteer coordinator for Indian Creek Elementary and Excelsior Show Choir. Even when faced with adversity or challenges, Meredith finds positive ways to enhance any situation and continue to shine rays of sunshine to make a positive impact and serve others. Meredith's creativity has been an asset to the district, and at Indian Creek, her creative spirit brought Rory, the lion mascot, to life. Rory would attend assemblies, school carnivals, America Reads Day, and show up in many social media posts advertising all the fun ways to support the school. She has most certainly gone above and beyond in not only her own volunteer efforts, but in her efforts to uplift others and bring joy to her surrounding in the Linn-Mar community. So please join me in acknowledging Meredith's leadership in our district. Thank you. Next is Dale Brandt. Dale Brandt is receiving the Making a Difference Volunteer Award, which recognizes volunteers who have supported our students here at Linn-Mar. Dale Brandt has spent over 200 hours just this school year volunteering directly with youth in both Math Counts and the Encourage Reader program. Morgan Jeffrey, Excelsior's Math Counts sponsor, acknowledged that Mr. Brandt is deeply invested each year in not only helping students become stronger mathematicians, but also in helping them grow as leaders and teammates. A previous Excelsior student also commented that Mr. Brandt helped inspire my love for math, and the impact he has had on me has lasted far beyond my middle school Math Counts. I can personally attest that Mr. Brandt is making a difference in the lives of students because that student comes from a kiddo that I personally know very well. Probably the same kid who is at home right now wondering where I am to fix his dinner, because while Dale very effectively taught him higher mathematical skills, apparently I am responsible for teaching him how to cook dinner. So thank you, Mr. And finally, Wayne Larson. Wayne Larson is receiving the Unsung Hero Volunteer Award, which recognizes those who have made an impact in our school community over multiple years. Wayne Larson is in his 20th year of volunteering and is nearing 2,000 hours of volunteer service. Currently, Wayne works with over 40 students one-on-one at Hazel Point multiple times a week in the area of literacy. Mrs. England commented that one of Wayne's most remarkable qualities is his unwavering belief in the importance of learning. He encourages curiosity, celebrates student achievement, and helps foster an atmosphere where students feel supported and inspired. Apparently, the other quality that is appreciated and was mentioned in both Shawnette Cummings and Tiffany Miller's is his amazing sense of humor that he always has the willingness to share with both students and staff alike. He continues to brighten people's days with both his dedication and his wit. Please join me in celebrating Wayne, our Unsung Hero Award winner, who, if you're lucky, might just share a good joke with you.
Thank you all. A bit of advice. The early bird gets the worm. The second mouse gets the cheese.
All right, and just as a reminder, the Lions Award recognition reception is going to be held here on Wednesday, May 13th at 5:15 with a short program at 5:30. Again, congratulations, everyone.
That was outstanding. Thank you very, very much. You guys are free to depart. There you go. Enjoy the rest of this lovely, lovely evening. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We're going to continue on, so I'm going to use my big speaking voice for just a minute. We're going to continue on with item number 400, our audience communications. We did not have anyone sign up to speak this evening, so we will continue to move on to our informational reports. And we'll pause. Chad, we're just going to put a pause on that for a second.
Good evening.
All right, go for it.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. It's my privilege and honor to get to share just a brief moment of highlights of the work that we've been on, I guess, this school year and beyond, and of course, well before my time in this role, and that is our district career and academic plan. I think it was about 2016 when this process in the state administrative code was updated to include our current procedures and processes for aligning our district career and academic plan, focusing pretty heavily on the career portion of it and post-secondary planning. So what is the DCAP? You'll oftentimes hear folks talk about the DCAP. It's just short for the district career and academic plan that you'll find in code. And really what that does is gives us a district cohesive plan framework to align the ICAP, which is the individual student's career academic plan. Sometimes you'll hear students talk about their four-year plan, particularly when they're eighth graders. And so one of the major parts of this process is to make sure we have a cohesive, coherent plan for students to get involved in career exploration, career learning, and then of course career planning or their high school career planning. And that's even extending down into grades 5 and 6 now. So if you hear ICAP and DCAP, a lot of abbreviations as you know in education, those are the connection between the two. So the purpose of this review is one, to make sure that we have an opportunity to provide you with an annual review, kind of have the opportunity to reflect on our 25-26 actions and reflections from the plan. The district career academic planning process doesn't really follow the school year super well. It gets submitted in September to your RPP and Grant Wood, the folks that have teams that give you feedback and evaluate your plan. And so we really work on the action planning part of it sort of mid-year. And I can talk about our district career and academic plan committee. We have a really diverse committee. They're fantastic. They met in both February for half a day and then again to develop some action steps for goals that we came up with based off the evaluation feedback from the 25-26 DCAP, and then of course in our development and our upcoming submittal in September of the 26-27 DCAP. So basically the focus of our goals this year, based off the work they did in feedback from the 24-25 document, was to continue to embed career awareness opportunities and planning within instruction, within core instruction, or within courses that are offered within our school environment for the students, not specifically relating your career planning to an isolated event, sort of connected maybe to school counselors or other opportunities like career fairs and so forth, but to develop an embedded opportunities for students. Of course, continue to expand our career-connected learning. You heard about venture being kind of our end goal opportunity and beyond, highlighted this evening already. And then, of course, just increase consistency. We have 2 intermediate schools, 2 middle schools, all feeding into 1 central high school, so making sure that consistency of opportunity and experience is there for our students. So some of the things that we really worked on this year, one, just develop a better cadence for our meeting structure, finding a great time where you can have a varied stakeholders. We had a high school student on our committee this year. When would a high school student be available for 4 hours? That volunteer their time, so we were really cognizant about that, embedded that into a professional day with our staff, so we were able to have people across all buildings, no matter what their schedule was, and I think that was really successful. And then a follow-up again later in March. Continue to find ways working with Kirkwood, Work-Based Learning Connection, and also, of course, Venture and our teachers within our career and technical areas to enhance access to tours, speakers, work-based connections as well. And then, of course, we know that we have developed and sort of extended opportunities within our own Venture program in our career and technical education areas at the high school. So here's some data and some outcomes. I think it's kind of the slide that excites me the most. One, you might have heard the software Zello. It's a really common software that's used in Iowa schools today. We've used Zello to help track our students' individual career plans and help them obviously also with scheduling as they transition to high school, sort of lay out their plan. It's totally editable. It's not set in stone. It also helps them do some career inventories and self-assess some strengths and things that interest them to start looking at courses. We also have milestones embedded into our district career and academic plan that have been going on for some years, like the 8th grade elective course or rotational course called High School Prep at both middle schools, and of course all the great counseling structures we have in place to support students' needs as they transition into high school and all the great opportunities we have there. Some of the career-connected learning indicators that we look at are data metrics. These are as of late last week on Thursday, I think I took these data. We've had over 343 job shadows. A lot of those occur in the summer prior to the school year. We have 41 active internships, which is amazing. We have 45 different students involved in career academies associated with Kirkwood. Those involve a commitment that starts either at 7:30 a.m. or 12:30 p.m., oftentimes at the Linn County Regional Center for 2 or 2.5 hours a block of time. So you might say we have an opportunity to grow that area, but there's some scheduling considerations for those students getting back to our high school schedule. You saw Alyssa from Venture tonight. We have over 275 unique students in Venture programs, and we have multiple students who have been in 2 or 3 Venture programs throughout their career. This will also be the first year we recognize Venture Cords at graduation for a student who has successfully completed 2 programs in their career. If they opt to do their capstone presentation, you'll see them in a lime green cord. So we have 4 students doing that process for the first time this year. Really cool. And then, of course, our emphasis on industry-recognized credentials this year. We are offering 17 industry-recognized credentials, and over 300 of our students will be earning industry-recognized credentials in conjunction with Kirkwood and our offerings in-house. So really, really neat progress there. We were somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 last year. As I mentioned, your DCAP plan, it's quite long. It's more than 70 pages of a document that you submit to a team at Grantwood AEA, and there's a committee that helps look at a rubric and provide you with some feedback. Our 2025-26 RPP evaluation was scored at a 30 out of 36, which was fantastic. As you can see, the Grantwood average for school districts was right at 20.48. We saw some of the largest growth in career-connected learning, work-based learning, and industry-recognized credentials, and I think you can probably see why, and we're going to continue to leverage that as well. The feedback really gave us the opportunity to reflect on what we can continue to pour into. We know that's working, and also just refine and provide more clarity to students about just what are the opportunities they have within our career-connected learning continuum. And so we're really grateful for the feedback. We'll be submitting the 26-27 by September, and so we'll be getting that feedback that we can share with you to continue to grow. The themes we received in 25-26 is we had great, strong systems in place and seemed to be really aligned, that we did a really great job deepening our reflection about how we could provide more varied opportunities for career-connected learning and work-based learning. And their recommendation was maybe to expand your stakeholders on the DCAP team. And I think I talked a little bit already on how we've adapted to do that. One is our meeting time, not having to sub teachers out to try to make that meeting happen, and focusing on a professional work day well in advance so they weren't missing any meetings back in their buildings. That was really successful. And then 2, the action planning team was a smaller subgroup of individuals that met in March that didn't require substitutes. And so I think that really allowed us to be more nimble and agile as we prepare to create our action plan for September. We've really leveraged our CT Advisory Committee much more this year, and some of you sit on that committee, which is wonderful. We've had a lot more interest from some new members on the CT Advisory Committee. That committee's met twice a year and involves many industry partners in the area that are giving us an opportunity to expand our internships next year. So we're excited about that. That'll be part of our action planning for 26-27. I've already mentioned that we met as a DCAP committee 2 different times. So some of those highlights I've alluded to already. We now have legislation that requires us to start career-connected development by Iowa law in 5th and 6th grade. So we'll be aligning that, working with the middle level director and principals down to the intermediate level to start making sure that we don't have repetitive experiences and exposure for our students and making sure it's age appropriate. And so we're excited about that planning. We want to continue to make sure that we don't have duplicative experiences for guest speakers, for example. And so we're going to build a directory, kind of a district directory and repository to say what is being done, like a data dashboard on guest speakers, work-based learning opportunities from 5th through 12th grade. So our students don't say, you know, I've already done this 2 years ago, or that we have that coordination. So that's something that we're really working on. Alyssa's helping out with that from Venture. And I think we have some great opportunities to recognize and identify more work-based learning experiences for our special education population at all levels, some which is already being done, particularly in vocational work experiences. So I'm excited about that and being able to coordinate that on their schedule. And then, like I said, we have an opportunity to invite and expand our representation on our DCAP committee. It's already 25 people, but I think getting to that 27 or 28 number will be more representative of everyone involved. Particularly, there were a few folks at the high school we thought that we should extend to, like Joyce, who you met this evening, and as well as our associate principal. We didn't have an associate principal on the committee, which we thought would be good, really help with scheduling and transportation issues as well that we often run into when it comes to our DCAP and our career experiences. So that's an update. We're really excited about it. We have some great strengths to build on. We have some opportunities to improve, clarify, and continue to pour into our district career plan as it relates to career connectedness. Any questions or comments?
First of all, thank you for that presentation.
Yes.
And it is exciting work. Does anybody have any comments or questions?
Just a quick comment, Chad. We appreciate the report. And this isn't a question for you as much as it is for all the leadership in the district. Would you comment on our graduation rate, or is Amy going to touch on that when she? Okay, then forget the question.
No problem.
Thank you, Chad.
You're welcome.
I want to take a second. So part of what I do in my professional real job world is help schools with DCAP plans. So I want to really acknowledge getting a 30 out of 36. I've never worked with a school who's had a score that high. Like,
Oh, wow.
and we work with every single, not every school on DCAP, but we work with every school in the state of Iowa on career and college readiness. And we're working more and more with districts on their DCAP plans. And part of that is because they have low scores and they're trying to figure out with the new rubric, how do we raise our scores?
Right.
So I just want to emphasize, as another person who works in the DCAP realm, how impressive it is that our district has a 30. And you have an email in your inbox from me saying, please send me the whole plan because I want to read it because I'm a nerd.
Sure.
But so I wanted to acknowledge that. And then there was something else. Oh, I want to just, since this is the first year that the requirement has gone down to 5th grade, can you give us an idea of what you're doing? I'm curious because most districts are skipping it this year. They're like, oh, it's year 1 and we don't know.
So luckily, we already have some experiences embedded just as best practice. Some involve junior achievement through some simulation, getting the idea of a budget, for example, and thinking about, well, you know, if that's going to be my spending budget as a 5th or 6th grader, I need to start thinking about a job that would help me fulfill those things that I may want versus need. And so they already do some embedded projects at the intermediate, but just thinking about how it becomes a better integration of perhaps many of the great teaching we already do and enhancing that, and then making sure it's equitable across all buildings so that all students are getting the same experience or access to the same experience. And then expanding upon that so it doesn't become boring for the students and that it builds upon one another, and just considering the resources we're already using and coordinating those.
And then reading the tea leaves. They've been talking about best practice is K-12 expansion, and every year they keep talking about, is this the year, is this the year? Have you guys started thinking about what this looks like in our elementary buildings?
We haven't talked about that at great length in DCAP, but one of the things that our committee has concern about is making sure that we're not watering down the process to check a box and be compliant as the law reads. And so many districts struggle with that just because of staffing or time, curricular time available for students. And so you really have to think about the integration opportunities. So that doesn't become this but really becomes an opportunity to integrate. And then where is it a good match for students within their current curriculum? Is it social studies? Is it during their school counseling rotation? So those are things we'll have to consider. But mainly we're concerned about apps or software, like we mentioned. One that we use, and many districts, of course, use the software to start developing an ICAP, is that it doesn't become redundant or boring. There's a lot of self-assessments and inventories. What do I like? Well, what you like in second grade may not indicate what exactly your career plan might be. And so there's some perils with that you have to balance, and I think that's yet to be determined. We want to make sure we're doing a great job at 5th and 6th grade, as that's a really new area for us.
Okay, well, I could sit here and talk DCAP all night, but I will just, again, commend you and the team. Also, having a team of 25 people is also quite unusual.
They're great.
So, Nathan, take in the moment. I don't have 100 questions where I'm like, where this is missing, or I still have, you guys are doing such a good job, and I'm so impressed with the work of the DCAP at this point.
Thank you.
Because I spend a lot of my time doing this with other districts, and if I walked into a room, I was like, why am I here if this is what they showed me? So thank you
for that
doing
feedback.
such a great job.
I appreciate that. I'll share that with everyone.
It's hard to follow Britt because I love hearing her analyze DCAPs because I'm a nerd. But I was really, I guess, happy to hear you talk about JA and how you're being so mindful to not do the duplicative stuff. I know JA, several of us have been volunteers for JA, and that brings in some of these concepts at the elementary level. And I know there's other curriculums out there, there's a micro-society one.
Right.
But then when you went on to say you were talking about the district dashboard to coordinate all those activities for all these events across the school, across the buildings, that is invaluable, and I will champion you every single day that you work on that, because it is sometimes those tracking mechanisms can be viewed as a waste of time, right? Okay, can we just do the work? Why do we have to spend time building this spreadsheet or whatever it is? But the efficiencies and takeaways that we are going to benefit from having a system like that in place for this or for any of our school systems, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for thinking of that. Thank you for working on that.
Yeah, we got
Amazing.
a head start at the last PD day with our high school staff. We got a survey out to them, said, hey, what are you currently doing that would involve a guest speaker that maybe no one else knows about, that they've just went upon themselves to make happen for their students? The problem is it duplicative? Does it overlap, they've maybe already, or we wear out our community partners? They've been asked 7 times, or and then they lose their bandwidth to support us. So if we can develop sort of a continuum of integration and maybe even work with Angela with our volunteer program, and just because through that interview process, as people become onboarded, we want to ask a question: would you ever want to be a guest speaker? Would you ever want to be able to share about your career field? So I think there's a lot of opportunity there too, to diversify.
Chad, congratulations, first of all, for coming over and giving us good news, right? I want to say that I have noticed a difference in our CTE meetings. The involvement of the community and the excitement that the community partners have brought is different. There's a lot more hands-on community partnership, which is showing, right, that we are building these CTE pathways for our students, and we've been successful. Also, last time, our counselors were like, oh, we can find a block for students to do this, which was exciting for us to see as I'm a second year CTE committee member, so it's exciting to see all the work that has been put in, and now we can see the community getting excited. So I just wanted to say congratulations, and please keep continuing this. We will all champion you.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. As you head out, if you have an opportunity, you'll see a container sitting at the high school. I just noticed it. It's happened fast as part of our community connection, but ESCO's dropped off the container, and it is currently being adapted into an on-site project to become a construction work site office. Both our residential construction and our metals classes are started. They've already started. And so they think that they'll have major progress done, cutting in windows, putting walls up. And that'll be an awesome front-facing project that will actually be used in the workforce. So super exciting right here on our site. So even though there's always a lot of construction, it's an actual project right outside the doors there to the north. So
I love that you just mentioned that because my office is in the Kirkwood Regional Building, and they did that like the first or second year we were in there. For 2 summers in a row, they had one of those, and and we got to watch the kids turn that into. They actually turned it into a tiny house.
Oh, wow.
But it's fascinating to watch just like basically a semi-trailer or whatever turn into a home. So thank you for sharing that.
Stay tuned. We'll have great picture updates.
Chad,
you.
I wanted to partially echo what some of the other board members have said, but I also wanted to highlight something that I think that you have developed from your follow-through and your dedication, which is buy-in from the community, buy-in from people at the district, buy-in from counselors. What I'm seeing in a limited time in these CT meetings is that you have created the trust within the community especially, but your colleagues and your coworkers, that people believe that there's going to be things made. And obviously tonight's presentation was a lot about that progress. And so that's the reason that buy-in is there. And so I just wanted to also echo what Midhat was speaking about. The community is very excited about a lot of this, and I think that as long as we continue to have that follow through with those members, and clearly we have with these developing internships and some of these things, that there's really a lot of impressive growth to be had. And I also think that for a large number of our students, this is going to be incredibly effective and beneficial. The reality is that most people in our country still do not have a college degree, and so what we are offering and what we are focusing on is not a minority. It's not a small subset of the people who are going to be living in our communities. And so I just think it's tremendous work. And like I said, you have created buy-in from all of your partners because of your follow-through and commitment. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're off the hot seat. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. All right, we're going to move on to item 502, Marion City Council report.
This is going to be a very long report.
Oh, Lord.
Actually, no, it's not. No, they mentioned the venture program at the meeting, but that was really, and that's very good. I'm not downgrading it, but that was really all that pertained to Linn-Mar, so thank you.
Really? I'm thinking that Indian Creek Bridge thing has something.
That's a minor detail.
Yeah, some of us. All right, we're moving on to item number 503, legislative report. Wow, just remember we were laughing and joyful before we started this part. There we go. Here we go.
We can be joyful and laugh through the tears.
We got it. That's good.
You want me to
Go for it.
All right. So, okay, it's April 13th. So in theory, in like a week and a half, 2 weeks, this will all be over. April 21st is still technically the last day of session. So I want to just kind of jump to property tax reform because we've been talking a lot about that. The Senate did pass their version of property tax reform last week. So you'll notice there on the front page, I moved that one to the top. So it passed the Senate 4140, so it is a bipartisan supported property tax bill.
You said 4140.
Sorry, 41.4, not 4140, 41.4 it passed. in the Senate, so bipartisan. It's now been sent over to the House. It is not on the House calendar yet, so I don't know what they're doing with it, but it has passed one chamber. It raises the school foundation level to 100% instead of the current 88.4%. If you have questions about what that means, we'll let John talk about it. It does limit what the district's UAB or unspent authorized budget can be. It will not be allowed to exceed 35%. Requires districts to adopt a policy to define a target range and maximum UAB. We kind of have a policy around our solvency and UAB already, so that's a good thing for us. Biggest thing is that PEPL will be reduced. It will not be allowed to exceed $1.18, so board-approved PEPL will be 24 cents, and voter-approved PEPL can go up to 94 cents. John, please remind us real quick what we're currently at.
$1.34 and 33 cents for a total of $1.67.
Thank you. So as we've been talking, that would decrease our PEPL levy. It also caps the district management fund balance over a period of time and sets a debt service levy limit between $1.89 and $2.84. Currently, it can be set between $2.70 and $4.05. So we kind of know now what we've been saying up until this point is there are 3 different plans out there and they're not really moving and they're not really talking. Well, now one has moved. The Senate plan has passed and it's the PEPL. It impacts PEPL. So the House plan passed out of committee March 23rd. There hasn't been any additional movement. The best guess is that there are behind-the-scenes conversations maybe about, negotiations and things. If you did read Friday in the ISB legislative update, they did share that what they are hearing from the Senate is that the Senate is a no-go on anything to do with touching SAVE dollars. Now, it's not the end of session yet, so maybe someone changes their mind, but right now, what ISB is reporting is that the Senate is not interested in touching SAVE, but they are, as we see, passing a reduction in PEPL. So that will feed into later conversations. Otherwise, what is included else in the handbook is the education bills that are still being discussed, and there's an update on at the end of each one about kind of where they're at, so what's passed the House. So a couple of them you'll see, like the BOE citizenship, it passed the House, it went to the Senate. The Senate didn't approve the amendment that the House put on the Senate's bill, so the Senate said nope and sent it back to the House. So that kind of goes back and forth on a few bills. There is things that are still out there are like open enrollment for athletes and activity participation. There is a bill, Senate File 273, the definition of what grooming behavior looks like. That bill is actually from last session, and so the House so bills are alive for up to 2 sessions. So it passed the House, but since it's from last session, it's unclear if it now goes back to the Senate, because the Senate passed it last year, and now the House picked it up and passed it, so it's unclear if it's going back to the Senate again or not. Disruptive behavior, the Senate passed that, sent it to the House added some amendments and sent it back to the Senate, so we have to see if the Senate keeps that amendment or if not. And then kind of the last 3 pages, Senate File 2231. This was a bill that the Senate passed before the funnel, and then the House filed it under unfinished business for the second funnel. And the original bill was just that, basically about sharing agreements with community-based providers. So the House pulled it off of the unfinished list. They added a whole bunch of amendments, some things from bills that were previously dead, standing by themselves, like the pilot to create separate attendance centers for special education students. That is now an amendment on this bill. So I included everything that's been pulled from other bills or added on as 2 amendments to that bill, because it's now alive and it passed the House with all of these amendments and will be sent back to the Senate. So the question will be if the Senate accepts all of these amendments or goes back to the original bill and sends it back to the House. So that's kind of the legislative update. The last thing I'll add, the very last bill, that House File 2192, it's kind of that other bill that's sitting out there that would change. If a school district wanted to have a bond issue, the voting yes majority would move from 60% to 80%. That bill has not, it's still alive because it's in Ways and Means and its appropriation bill, but it hasn't been discussed or had any movement since January 28th. So it could be tacked on to an end-of-year appropriations bill. It could be tacked on as an amendment to property taxes because it kind of falls into that category. But right now, as a standalone bill, no one's really talked about it since the end of January. Questions?
A couple of them. I was going to comment, I thank you for all the information that you've been giving us. All of this information is public information. You're just putting it into readable forms for us.
Oh, yeah. So my nerdiness extends to the legislative bill book, where you can type in these bill names, and it will tell you, there's the whole calendar is on the left-hand side that'll tell you subcommittee, committee passage dates, vote counts, who did what, messages that they're sending between the House and the Senate on the bills. Like, you can read all of this. I'm just summarizing it into digestible bites.
And I think you've been doing this for a while, and this is the most detailed we've had in a long time, so thank you as well. I mean, it really is showing some experience that you have within this background. Is there any other questions?
I have a question. So,
which one?
My favorite bill, SF 2472, that passed the Senate. It's on the first page, the last bill on the first page.
2472.
Senate GOP plan.
Oh, the property tax. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is for everybody's information. We're going from $1.67 to $1.18. That's almost 31% decrease in funding for PEPL. Mm-hmm. So do we know what that means for us in dollar value?
We will, and John is going to talk about that in a couple agenda items.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we address it.
Yeah, that's why I asked John to kind of give the difference between what it is now and what it's being proposed, but he's got a whole presentation for us, so I don't want to step on his toes and talk about it now.
We're good? Thank you very much. All right, we're going to then move on to 504, our superintendent's report.
All right. Tonight, we lead off our district honors and highlights with recognizing our kiddos at Oak Ridge and Excelsior. Both teams recently competed in the middle school math counts competition. They placed fourth among, Excelsior placed fourth among the 17 teams, and Oak Ridge placed second, so that's outstanding. Also earlier tonight, one of our math coaches was recognized for the awards earlier, so congrats there. We have our foundation dine out for our schools highlight on the April 16th. We're hosting dine out later this week. Please consider visiting one of the participating restaurants and mention dine out for our schools for Linn-Mar, and a portion of the bill will be donated back to the foundation. Congratulations to our Linn-Mar High School football team for being recognized by the Mississippi Valley Conference with the Sportsmanship Award. And our Future Business Leaders of America, our high school students, recently attended the State Leadership Conference, joining 1,200 students from across Iowa. Students attended workshops, connected with peers, and competed in a wide variety of events. Linn-Mar placed in the top 10 in 38 events, with 24 students earning top 4 finishes in 21 events. Those students are now advancing to the National Leadership Conference in San Antonio, Texas. So congratulations to our FBLA Lions on an outstanding achievement. Earlier, Director Buckles asked about graduation rates. The Iowa Department of Education has recently released information on graduation rates and shared the following with us. Our graduation rates for the class of 2025, which is a 4-year cohort rate, was 95.25%. And our class of 2024, the 5-year cohort graduation rate, was 96.13%. While we remain very, very proud of these high rates, of course, 100% is always our goal. This sets our students up for success as they ponder life after high school, whether they're continuing their education, enlisting, or seeking employment. Just a little bit about our facilities updates. Our Oak Ridge Band Room addition. OPN has met with our stakeholder groups to fine-tune design and interior material palette, and they will continue to develop that based on the feedback. They're finalizing code review and will meet with the city around that. They're working on construction documents for drawing, and specs are underway. And then they're working with John to finalize bid dates. Regarding the facilities assessments, we have exterior assessment of buildings is ongoing. They're compiling and organizing survey responses and reports from consultants to include in the final deliverable. They're finishing graphics for all schools and started to create building studies, and they're beginning to create pricing scenarios to review with the district. In our Indoor Activities Center project, they have issued a 75% set on Thursday to go out to a cost estimator. The early site package pre-construction meeting was held, and often you hear us referring to the early site package. That's the cement or the new parking lot work that's going on south of the high school. And then they've also been coordinating with the design team in preparation for finalizing construction documents. And just a couple of upcoming dates for students and staff. On Friday, April 24th, there'll be no school. That's a teacher compensation day for conferences that were held previously. And then on April 30th, our Linn-Mar High School will be having evening conferences. Take any questions.
Anyone have any questions?
I don't have a question if it's okay. President Lau Lancaster, I'd like to mention a young man by the name of Justin Pfeffer. Works for Lockheed Martin. He's a graduate of Linn-Mar. He had built the control panel for the spaceship that just went up. And there was a lot of text going around and a lot of young people around, so I just thought that'd be mentioned because that's quite an honor and quite a treat. So,
thank you.
Hey, I did have a question. Amy, could you explain what the 4-year and the 5-year cohort is for the graduation rate?
Yeah, and I might lean on Nathan to help explain that. Has to do with your freshman year. Nathan, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so there's a couple different figures that they use into that, and it's a little bit tricky because you have to remember that students that qualify for certain special education services are still on their IEP, some past 4 years. And so if you just did a 4-year graduation rate, you wouldn't capture those kids, because even though we may have an agreement where kids go to, like, say, for Kirkwood, they're technically considered a non-grad because they were in 4 years. And so several years ago, the state added this other category of a 5-year. So what you're basically doing is taking the amount of kids in 5 years that didn't graduate that year before. And so you always want to see your 5-year a little bit higher, meaning that either somebody came back to Compass in our example or some other spot that might not have graduated but then was able to do it that following year. So there's two different formulas. And it's based on the same roughly cohort of kids. So, you know, they're still looking at when they all started freshmen, the 5-year just goes that year past for the year before, if that makes sense. I know it's kind of confusing. That's probably not the best way to describe it.
That was great.
No, that's helpful. In my head, I just assumed that the graduation rate was based upon who starts 12th grade and who graduates 12th grade, as opposed to who starts 9th grade.
9th grade,
all
right.
the way through. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Amy, I don't know if you're able to contextualize those graduation rates for us. I know the goal is always 100%, but do you have any awareness of just about, you said because the state was releasing those numbers, about just any contextualization of where we fall within the state?
Is the state graduation rate like 88?
Yeah, the state rate was 88%.
Okay, perfect. That's a great thing to do.
And I think that, and Evan, that's a good question. I think they compared us to other districts kind of in the area, and some of those were down in the 84, 85 range, maybe 86, so yeah.
Okay, excellent. That's what I was just trying to do, is just trying to get, it's wonderful to know that the goal is always 100%. It should be 100%. At the same time, I think that's a fox we will be chasing for a long time. And so that's wonderful to have those numbers that sort of across the state, we're looking at the mid 80s and we're maybe like a 10-point bump ahead of that. So that's exciting.
In that big booklet that Nathan loves to put together for us and makes those cohorts, so graduation rates are in there, and it's typically like we're up here, and then it shows a Grant Wood figure that is slightly lower for all the schools in the Grant Wood area, and then the state is down here. So.
Yeah, I think a moment of pride that we read and that we keep your materials too and refer to them. Oh my gosh. Anybody else have any questions? Go
my
ahead.
nerd moment is kicking in, but that's what we do in our SIAC meeting. Just look at those numbers and really dive into this. So thank you, Laura, for bringing that up. Thanks.
All right, John, you are in the hot seat. We are now going to move into unfinished business. We are at item number 601, our Indoor Activity Center project and associated renovations. Here's what I'm going to ask. This is a big presentation, and so I want to ask you to listen to all of what John's going to say. If you can, write notes off to the side so you don't forget if you have a question. But also, if we could, at the end of this, we will have to ask what action do we want to take. I'm just going to ask that we all pause so we don't put a motion, then a second, and then we are playing that game. Just put a pause on all of it so that we are together, moving forward together. So John, take it away.
Amy, was there enough there for everybody? Okay. I provided you a copy, so it's a little bit bigger than what the screen is. Since the screen's behind you, hopefully some of the numbers are still a little small, but it should work, I think. All right, so just an update on indoor activities and proposed legislation. Kind of following our work session from last Monday, there was some questions that came out of that, so wanted to be able to provide an update on some of those questions. So, just as a reminder, during the 24-25 school year, the board decided, yes, we want to move forward with this. Yes, we want to use a mix of PEPAL and SAVE funds. At that point in time, we reviewed a draft of the 10-year plan that showed that monies are available for the maintenance and upkeep projects. So again, a draft, a best guess of what's cash flow look like if we fund this project, can we keep our buildings looking nice, I think is maybe a good summary of that. And at that time, the answer was, yes, we feel comfortable with this. So since then, specifically in the 2026 legislative session, Britt's been keeping everybody up to date on the tax reform bills. Governor had one, the House had one, and the Senate has one that's passed through the Senate. So that's the Senate version is the most further along in the process. We'll see what happens going forward. We've had 2 work sessions with the board covering this topic. We've updated our steering committee and then updated our stakeholder group as well with what's going on in the legislature. So kind of question number 1, or the first question, doesn't have to be number 1, but one of the questions was what does the funding look like with each of those legislative changes? So we're going to start with what does our cash flow look like in our capital funds in current law? So we have all 3 funds here, our SAVE fund, our PEARL, and our PEPAL fund. So those are the 3 funds that we can use to fund our capital projects. So in each one of those funds, the red line there is the revenues coming in, and then the expenses going out, or the green and the purple. There's a reason for the purple. Those would be the 2 funding mechanisms for the Indoor Activity Center project, a 2027 issuance out of SAVE Fund, and then what's called a transfer to debt service out of PEPAL that would be this year. So that's why those are a little bit different. So the key thing here is don't get caught up in the individual dollars available in each fund. That is John was not going to shift everything to make it look perfect, because what really matters here is the very bottom line, the available SAVE, PEPAL, and PEARL. So that gives you a total of what's available in those 3 funds combined for each year. I think most importantly, we want to look at the far right column at June 30, 2035. Currently, we're looking at 18.5 million. Now, what's included in this, right? So the things that are included is full funding for the indoor activities project, both the PEPL and the SAVE. Our technology purchases, our transportation purchases, the Oak Ridge Band Room is already included in here. And then what I like to call our annual expenses. So if we think about, we need to buy buses, we need to buy technology, we need to replace flooring, we need to replace concrete, we need to replace roofs, those kind of annual summer type projects are in there. So now what is not included? I think the big conversation piece that everybody that we've talked about with the board several times and is maybe more well known is at some point in time over the next 10 years, probably in the beginning of that 10 years, we'll have to do the HVAC project at Excelsior. That project is not currently listed in here as being funded. So anything like that or anything else that comes out of the facility assessments that we'll be getting back soon from OPN is not funded in there. Just our upkeep projects, concrete, floors, paint, roofs. There's budgeted dollars in there for those types of things. So I took out all that detail to get it on one page and keep it legible. All right, so that's number one. Next one, Senate File 2472. So everything on these pages are identical except the revenues change based on what the legislation is. So we can again look at what are the balances in the funds. Don't pay much attention to that. That is just a mechanism of needing to switch some expenses. The important line is the very bottom line. So we are at 18.4, almost 18.5 under current law. Senate file passes. Our best guess estimate, $15.8 million. So about 2.6 in reduction. So it's not a good thing. Maybe not as bad as we thought it might be. So that's what it is there. Again, same expenses already entered, already figured in here, and the same projects that we don't know about are not in here. All of that is the same, only the revenue line in this has changed. Now the House file. Exact same thing as the last one, only revenues change. So as we go down and look at the bottom, remaining funds in June 30 of 2035, $6.5 million. So roughly a $12 million reduction if the House file would pass. So this is the one that hits save with that 30% reduction. Sorry, it gets us to a 30% reduction by 2035. There is some property tax valuation things in that one as well. So although not as large, it would affect PEPL somewhere between 1.5% and 2%. So it's not huge, but it's still a piece of that file. So this is a good example of if an HVAC replacement is $7 million. In this plan, we would be negative in 2035. We wouldn't have the funds for it. Senate file, $15.8 million in there. There's some funds left to do those projects. Not quite as much as current law, but it's not nearly as bad as the House file. All right, kind of next question was about what does a phased approach look like? How could this split? So go back in time just a little bit, about a month, a little over a month. This was kind of the summary of the project budget. So we have said $53.4 million was the funding that was allocated between the PEPL and the SAVE. Where were we for a cost estimate at that time? And this is for total project costs. So this is all in construction, FF&E, design fees, other soft cost. Somewhere in between 54.2 and 56.3. Why is there a range there? Still finalizing an FF&E budget and still carrying contingency dollars for both design and construction. So that's the range. You'll see on the next page, there's a 55.8. That's the number that we pulled to say, we're going to move forward with this for now to get down to one number so that the rest of these make sense. So if we phase this, what's this look like? On the left are the construction costs that came from the last estimate from February. It's the same numbers that were presented here on March 9th. Those numbers are exactly the same in there. I think there was one change, and that is the early site package, because that is a known number now because we've received those bids. So you'll see there, as we've talked about, maybe why does that look the way it does, as far as you have A, B, C, D, early site package, and then construction contingency. Those are for change orders, so on and so forth. And then there's a gap, Area E construction, and then construction contingency. Really, the reasons that's phased that way is, as we've talked, if you wanted to split this, where is a good spot in here that we could split? So OPN took a look at that, structurally and mechanically, those types of things. Where can we split it? It's really right along that line between C and E. That is a good breaking point to do this. So number one there, it works in the construction phasing of being able to, can we stop this somewhere and start it again? That's a good spot. It also works out in the financial aspect, because we can afford to do everything else above that. Works from the code standpoint, and that our storm shelter is included for phase one. So if this would end up being split, what is the potential add in cost to this, because we're now not doing this as one project, but there is some rework involved if we split it into two. I think we all knew that. So on the right-hand side of the page there, our current budget, 55.8, and then you'll see phase one, site adjustment. There's gonna be some site things we're gonna have to change to accommodate the first phase going through. An envelope add, so building envelope, that means something on the outside. We would have an interior wall if this was one project, become an exterior wall. We need to do something there to keep it water and weather tight, right? So these are budget numbers. That would be in addition to phase one. On the phase two side of things, we have a contractor coming back, so there's a second mobilization. It's probably not the same contractor, but we're paying 2 mobilizations nonetheless. Could be the same contractor, I guess, I don't know. Phase two, site adjustment. Gonna have to change some things back that we had to do in phase one to accommodate phase two. Then the envelope add, or add in cost, a deduct of an envelope, because now we have an exterior wall that will now become an interior wall. That doesn't need to be that way. So a budget number there. And then a soft cost, we'll have to bid this again. We'll have to change some design and redesign, issue out 2 separate packages, so there's some soft costs there. That'll be, you can look at that as that would be split proportionally between the 2 phases, but all in all, it's an added cost. So I think to answer the question is, what does this cost? We're looking at roughly a $4 million increase to make this 2 projects. Now, this does not include any potential escalation, meaning, I think Amy's heard me say this a million times, construction's never cheaper than it was yesterday, so as you move in the future, it generally gets more expensive. We haven't added any escalation to this for a couple of reasons. One, that's been so volatile. It's calmed down here in the last couple of years since COVID, but I would say it's still volatile. And 2, without knowing what the legislature does and when the finances, if we elect to do this in 2 phases, and the legislation negatively impacts what our financial ability is, and we would have to just figure out when can we do this again that fits within the financial side of things. We don't know when that is. Is that 1 year, 2 years, 8 years, 10 years? Obviously, that escalation is drastically different over that time. So the apples to apples comparison of what would it cost if we would do it in 2 phases or 1 phase, no escalation there was the right approach. Whew. All right, so some important things to note. These are all important. Number 1 is very important. All of the numbers you've seen are best guesses. Legislation is not finalized. They have not adjourned. So they are our best guess from arguably some of the best people in the state that do this for a living. So we feel good, but they're still guesses. We will get a second cost estimate back from for the project in late April. Amy touched on that a little bit. So it's the 75% construction documents. That means they're roughly 75% done. There's more detail in there than the design development set. So our costs should get closer to what they'll actually be. There's not as many assumptions made, but there are actual details that the cost estimator can look at and price. And then the PEPAL resolutions are on the agenda for the first part of the project funding. We know that that's coming up here shortly in the agenda. So here's some considerations that we didn't talk about last time based on some other conversations that we had. So our recommendation, the administration's recommendation would be have a special board meeting prior to May 11th to make decisions due to the following. So May 11th is a critical day. If the PEPAL resolutions get approved tonight, May 11th is when we would open the bids, or that we would sell the bonds for that. So we still have the ability to cancel the PEPAL notes ahead of the May 11th sale and board action. I've spoke with Matt Gillespie, said, hey, I know we've talked about this before. What are the pros and cons? He listed a bunch of different things and said, John, if you want to do that, my only recommendation is don't receive the bids, cancel them the day before you're going to receive the bids. So that pushes our date up to there where when's the last, when's the drop dead date, I think was what Britt's initial question was in a finance audit committee, and we've talked about it here at the board table. Really that drop dead date is May 10th. That's a Sunday, Saturday, sometime before that. So just before the 11th is really our drop dead date. The other thing is we'll have that second cost estimate for the project will have been received and reviewed so that we can fine tune what are those expense numbers coming from that. So further considerations on, so how do we operationalize everything I just said? John, you're asking for us to have a special board meeting sometime before May 11th. How does this work to keep moving on that path so that we can make those decisions on May 11th? First there, I would just table item 601, which says approve or do not deny indoor activities center as discussed. I'm paraphrasing that. We don't need to make any motion with that. Currently, the direction of the administration from the board is to move forward with this project. So tabling that just keeps us on that path. We would bring that decision back to the board meeting that's prior to May 11th. I would approve the test drilling. So that's part of the HVAC system. They need to put a drill in the ground, figure out some heat conductivity things in there. They make their assumptions. This confirms that. Whether this project happens tomorrow or 10 years from now, that's still very valuable information that will get used. So it's not a waste of money to do this. It'll get used, like I said, either now or sometime in the future. And then lastly there, approve the PEPAL note resolutions. I think there's 2 of them, 3 of them, I always forget. And then a bond council resolution agenda item. That bond council resolution is as part of those PEPAL notes. So that gets us as late as we can down the path to learn as much more information as we can, and the board still has the ability really to make any decision that we had talked about making tonight. It just pushes us later on the same path that we're not at our drop dead date, but hopefully we're able to learn more between now, April 13th, and sometime before May 11th.
Thank you. So now, John, is that you're complete? You're ready for questions?
Yes, I am.
All right, go for it.
So I have a couple questions. At one point in the past, we did a bond sale, and you're going to have to remind me, we thought we should either do public or private, and then we went with that, and it came back, and they were really high, so then we changed our mind and said we're going to wait and do the private. Did we release those like, we made that decision based on the bids, right? How did that work, and why is that different than this?
That is a really good question. I would have to go back and look at those. I was very new at the time, Britt, and I may not even know the answer to that. I know exactly what you're talking about. I think they were a private placement to start with, and then we went to a public sale because of the interest rates that we got back weren't what we thought they were going to be, if I remember correctly, but I would have to look at that.
I was just like thinking about over the weekend that we did get to a point where we actually changed our mind on how we were going to sell them based on the interest rates that came back. So I was those would have been bids that we turned down, right? Okay. Yep. So as I've mulled over all of the information over the last week and watched the Senate file pass, which is PEPAL, and looking at all of the charts that I love that you made, if it goes through as it is now with the 30% reduction in Pepple, so we lose 2.6 million. That doesn't scare me. And if we adjust 2.6 million somewhere in the balance of what things cost, whether it's this project, which it probably should be, or whatever, if we can adjust for 2.6 million, that's a lot easier than trying to adjust if they hit save at 30% and we lose 11 million, $12 million. You can't really, that's not a cost savings, that's a project cut. So I was also, when I was reading last night on the ISB legislative update, and ISB reported that the Senate has, it's a non-starter for the Senate to do anything with SAVE. That's not an official statement from the Senate. That is an ISB, report out. But that gives me, that's another layer of reassurance. If the Senate's not going to touch SAVE, then we may not lose $12 million. And then, I'm not a person that gambles. I'm not a person that, I am very fiscally is the money there and then I will spend it. I'm so when I'm listening to all of this all session, that's what my fear has been, is how can we move forward if we don't know if they're going to pull the rug out from under us and we lose all of the funding for this. So if we're losing 2.6, it makes no sense to me that we would do a phased approach and add 4 million to the budget. But I also love that you went and got more information that we can wait to make the full decision. We get another cost estimate, we can say we're not going to sell it the day before. In my mind, based on everything we've talked about, if Pepple is what gets cut, we should sell the Pepple bonds before June 30th, because we get the full levy that we have now, and we're only losing the 2.6 million. So with all of that new information, I don't feel as I did last week, where I was like, we don't know what they're going to do. We really should can we just wait the 2 weeks? I know we'll lose, now, if the Senate doesn't want to touch SAVE, which I know isn't a guarantee, and it's looking like what's moving forward is the cut to Pepple, then we should sell our Pepple. We should do the Pepple now and get the current levy rate and make that work as hard for us as we can while we still have it. That's where I'm at.
To maybe give you a little bit more evidence, maybe some of you all did as well, but I was very heavily communicating with our state legislators in lobbying basically support for public schools, and I probably, I don't think that this can be their official statement, but I heard from some of our state legislators as well, in line with what you have outlined in the ISP piece, that the other way that I heard it phrased was their goal was to provide leadership to the House and to kind of the rest of the state government, that this was a bipartisan bill that balanced the concerns of trying to create some property tax cuts, but specifically basically not being as, this would be my word, but punitive to local schools. And so again, I probably also can't say that that's a firm on the record guarantee slam dunk, but I have just heard similarly from members of the Senate that their goal is to have this version pushed through, and that's why they wanted to come together in a bipartisan way to get it passed, because it sort of it wasn't a perfect bill, but the members who joined on felt that this was the best way to get the best bill passed. So I would just echo a lot of what you said, Britt, and provide support that I think that while yes, we are reading the tea leaves, I think that we have a much stronger indication that this is what the proposed funding cut to Pebble that we see in the Senate File 2472 is going to be. It's a much stronger likelihood that that's what's going to go forward. So just wanted to add that.
Midhat, you've been waiting. Go ahead.
So I am a lot more conservative when trying to spend money. And I don't know, with the way the legislature has been going, I don't know how, I trust Britt and I trust what our legislators are trying to say, but we can't say that tomorrow the governor may not sign a bill.
Yeah. Don't put your trust in me that I'm saying what I'm reading in front of me is influencing my thought process. I am not telling you that, like, I am incredibly fiscally conservative. Like I said, I like to have the money in the bank for like a while before I spend it. So yeah, don't put your trust in me.
Yeah, so my question is, you know, we did the ABCDE approach over here, the breakdown of the project. When do we get to this E? So where, like, we start A, B, C, and D, right? It's a level approach. When do we get to E? When do we have to decide if we go through this phased approach? When do we need to decide that we're doing E?
Well, I think the first decision would come from the board to say, we do want to do this as two separate projects or a phased approach, or do we want to keep this as a single project? So that would be the first decision. Once that decision's made, then I think it's what information do we need, or when do we feel comfortable because of what legislation passed? John, can you show us what our funding opportunities are, and then what does that look like in that kind of same cash flows that we looked at? I guess we'd kind of need some more information, or I'd have to go ask for some more options for that. So I don't know that I can. I don't know that I can tell you that necessarily.
So my question is it, if we were to go, if the board decided to go to the phased approach, right? Do we decide 2 years from now that we want to release the funds for E? Or because fiscally, we can do, if we do the phased approach, it doesn't matter which legislation passes, right? Which bill passes, we should be able to do the first phase. If I look at these numbers the way I am reading, if I look at the numbers that you have posted in the 10-year potential plan, if we split this project, let's just say 30 million and 30 million, right? We can do 30 million without causing any, without, let's just say, the HVAC system without causing any issues to the HVAC update.
I think I can explain this. So what you're saying is, if we move forward and only able to do the things that we can with only issuing the PEPAL notes, but not issuing any save bonds, can we afford to do the other things? So the real simple math in this is, does this look bad on your screens too? I apologize if it does. So my purple isn't purple, but in the save, which is the top bucket, the fourth line down, it says less projected 2027 issuance. That would have been the save bonds for the remainder of the project, whether that was one project or two. So board's hypothetical, board said, let's split into two. Those wouldn't get issued in 2027. The expense for that over the next 10 years is roughly, and it's really dang close, $11 million. So if we added $11 million back to our end total there, we would be just under $18 million. So pretty darn close to what this is in current law, if that gives you a sense of. So the question then is, would we be able to go ahead and do those other projects if this was a phased approach? With the funds being almost dollar for dollar what they are under current law, the answer is yes. So the missing piece in that is we haven't been able to fund the second part of the project yet.
So talk to me, and if we need to ask Vicki, that's great, because she's here, and I love that, and I appreciate that. Let's say in May, we decide that we're gonna do the phased approach because the legislation does something stupid by the end of session. What does it look, is that when we have to decide? Because if we say move forward with the 29 million, we're gonna do A through D. is that an immediate, they need to know that when they start working on C, that it's a certain, like, that we're stopping there? Or is it, like, do we have to decide that by May? Or can we use the next year and the project is moving forward, and next year when we normally would have, if this was one project, we would have issued save next year. Can we, when is that no go?
Yep, so we can issue so the board says phase this, we can get the PEPL notes issued, and we can delay we can delay when we issue this for bid. When this goes out for bid, the contractor has to have a clear scope on what they are pricing. So at that point, before that gets issued, we'll need to have the plans revised to what the actual project is.
So we have to decide this like before the bid goes out, which was supposed to be in June, May?
Yes, but don't let that give you any heartache.
Nope.
That can get delayed. If that gets delayed until August, is that ideal? It's not ideal. Is that okay? 100% okay.
Yeah, that's not, the part of this that gives me heartache is not when we send the bid out.
Yep.
So, okay. So really, we can wait till the end of the session to decide if we're phasing.
Correct.
Tonight, we just need to decide, are we doing the PEPL notes, which I think we should. Yeah. So we're going to keep going. Perry's been waiting at the end there.
I'm pretty patient.
You're good?
This is great discussion. Jonathan, Vicki, we appreciate all the work you guys have both done on all this. And as you well know, I'm probably a little bit more aggressive than what some are. Some folks are conservative. It's just like at my house. But on the other side of that, what I look at is we would add 10% to the project if we phased it, between $4 and $6 million. That's what I look at, and that's long-term guesses too. So, I mean, seriously, the discussion we're having this evening is by far better than the discussion we had a week ago, and that's because of all of your hard work. Seriously, everybody's hard work, and I appreciate that. So I really think we're moving forward. I really think deep down inside, we have some very, very good options. As we well know, we can't control our legislators and whoever that is, and I think somebody made that comment earlier that that's going to probably change this next year anyway, even though most of these bills, you know, once they get put in, they probably come back a year later or whatever that is. So I appreciate all your hard work.
Technically, this is the end because there's an election. That anything that's a bill now can't be, they'll have to start over. That's good. So this is the end of a 2-year cycle.
They have copy and paste.
What?
I said they have copy and paste.
Well, yes, copy and paste. They have to start over. They can't just pick it up and say, we're going to talk about this again.
Laura?
Thanks. This is laid out beautifully to say what he said. It is nice to see the various scenarios, both for today, if nothing changes, if nothing goes through, if everything stays the same, here's where we'd be. And then, you know, for the Senate file, for the House file. And I think both our legislators, and because school financing is weird and complex and acronymic, I don't know if that's a word, it is now, you know, remembering that we have SAVE, PEPL, and bonds to pay for the buildings, the technology, like that's it, correct? Like we can't pull money from anywhere else. We have those 3 things for like an HVAC system. If we had to pay for an HVAC system, or if we had to pay for, I don't know, a new door, a new exterior door, it would come from SAVE, PEPL, or a bond. Yes?
You could use general fund dollars. I would not advise that.
Thank you for being technically correct. I do appreciate being technically correct. And just the hand-wringing over this is all because we know how much, like I have heard, I've gotten more emails about this project in my last 2 years than any, like people have communicated the need. I don't doubt that. It's that these funding mechanisms are also the funding mechanisms that cover the roof repair and all those other facility things. And analyzing whether, if another derecho happens, knock on, there's no wood in this building, but, like the balance is like, can we take care of that and do this thing that we know the community really wants and needs? And I wanted to say that out loud at this discussion that is in front of everyone, because our hesitancy is not necessarily a lack of want to support this, but it's just balancing out that opportunity cost and all the what ifs.
So what did Justin call it? Intentional responsibility, which both of those are just like double wowed, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry to monologue on about that.
Nope.
But this is reassuring. It is good to know that an HVAC system could cost $7 million. And I appreciate the opportunity to have that special board session. And I don't know if we can get, like, hypothetically, if we need to do anything to make sure we have that special board session. Like, I don't want it to be like a hypothetical, like, oh, we could have this thing. I just want to make sure, I guess, process-wise, that is on the books, and that is not a hypothetical. I don't want to leave someone hanging if we choose to go that route,
Sure.
which we'll get there. So
Thank you, Laura. Anyone else want to add to this right here in this conversation? Justin has not had a chance to speak. Evan, you have one more thing you say? Go ahead.
Absolutely. I just wanted to maybe also further frame. I know that part of what we're talking about is the concern and the worry that, what happens when this might change. I do want to kind of, you brought up opportunity cost. It's a great time to also address that the $4 million, potentially more, maybe $6 million, that does represent the opportunity cost, or rather the cost of what it costs to buy some more certainty around this project. And so especially because we're talking about being fiscally conservative, I think one of the real tough challenges that we have is that being cautious does have a price. And so that is something that we have to worry, or at least not worry, but we do have to make sure that we take into account in terms of is that price tag too much to prevent, part of what we're trying to prevent is a catastrophic situation where the state legislature does remove so much funding that we really find ourselves in a quandary. And so I think that everyone at this table has taken that possibility seriously, and that's part of why we're having this discussion. But I do think it's important for us to remember that there is a cost, and that operating conservatively, it won't be free in this case. It will have a cost, and so that's something that we will all individually have to weigh. So just.
Yeah, thanks here. Just remarking on that, in my head, the word conservative, it doesn't register anymore with what we're talking about. So it's because in my head, conservative, this is being responsible, right? And this is making sure that we're doing best by our school district, our taxpayers, and everybody else here. And I love to hear that you guys have got some amount of faith in your legislators. I've stood and had them lie directly to my face, and so I have zero faith in anything that they tell me right now. And in addition, whatever they might pass, there's the governor, and then there's always the Supreme Courts as well. So I hear you. What I'm looking forward to is that we're going to get another bite at the costing apple here as we get that next revision that's going to come in late April. And then we've got the ability to kind of to make a decision here in early May. And kind of what I've been operating by is we don't get anything extra by making a decision today. We put more at risk. So there's no advantage to make a decision today in my head. There is advantage to make a decision in early May. And so that's kind of where we start to hit that opportunity cost. That's what I was hearing. So
We could table moving forward on the whole project, deciding if we're splitting, phasing, whatever, but we do need to move forward on setting up the PEPL sale, and then we can decide not to do that at the special board meeting in May.
Yep. So unless there's any other public discussion here.
The only other public discussion is as we reference the work of the Capitol, I want to make sure that we are not accusing anyone. It is just complicated. And I think that that's what we're working through is the complications of decisions that in best interest, some folks see it through a different lens than my own. But I feel that that's just, things could change because of the way we vote at the Capitol. And things can change the way we vote here. Again, we're being intentionally responsible. And I think that that's the way that we're going to go forward. Do we have any further things you want to add, John? Not. At this time, I'm going to put a pause. Is there a motion on the table that we can bring forward?
I'll make a motion to table item 601 on the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion to table and a second. Hold on. Motion to by Justin, second by Midhat. Is there discussion?
Can we say table for the special board meeting in May so that we can solidify that we are going to have a special board meeting in May?
I would agree with that.
Wait, we're not amending the motion at this time. The question would be, the reason for we will bring this back to the board prior to 11th is there are other moving dates. It might be, for example, the 4th would put us back to a Monday. There's other dates possible. The 11th is just it will not happen later than the 11th. We would not necessarily need to put that in the motion, but that is the discussion of this group.
I would just like to cement the fact that we are committed to having
Prior to the 11th.
discussion prior to our go, no-go date.
That's good. And Laura has spoken to that as well.
And Barry.
Question. When we get to the board calendar section of the agenda, could we revisit this conversation for hypothetical dates? Just hypothetically.
I appreciate that because otherwise I would probably vote against tabling it.
Okay.
But
thank you. Just keep in mind, we have a motion with a second on the table, and the only thing that was on that motion was to table item number 601 from the agenda, from tonight's agenda. That's all that's out there right now. So to put an amendment.
I would request, Justin, are you willing to amend your motion to include setting a board meeting prior to, a special session prior to May 11th, date to be determined by board leadership?
If so, say yes.
you good with that? Yeah.
I do.
Thank you.
Repeat what she said, Justin. So.
Okay, we're going to put a pause on this to just make sure that I have followed all of our parliamentary procedures so that you know what you're actually discussing. We're going to have Justin repeat his motion.
I'm going to make a motion to table item 601, the Indoor Activity Center project and associated renovations, table this discussion to have it at a special session prior to the May 11th scheduled PEPL bond sale.
Okay. That's what's on the discussion. Is there any further discussion?
I second his motion again.
I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor of this motion, please say yes.
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 Any opposed? All right, we're at 6:02. Let's rock this. Okay. We are now to item number 602, approval of the quote. May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve the quote for mechanical sales for the drilling of a test well for the Indoor Activity Center project for a total of $88,500.
Second.
We have a motion by Britt, a second by Barry. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say yes.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Item number 603, approval of plans, specs for the Indian Creek Playground project. May I have a motion, please?
Yeah, could I please motion to approve the plans/specifications for the Indian Creek Playground project as presented in Exhibit 603.1?
Thank you,
Second.
Laura. We have a motion by Laura, second by Britt. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
All right, we are now to new business, our approval of open enrollment. May I have a motion, please? Wait.
I make a motion to approve the open enrollment request as presented.
Second.
Is there any discussion on open enrollments? If not, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 702, approval of physical education standards exemption motion.
Motion to approve the 2026-27 Physical Education Standards exemption per CASA requirements to teach high school physical education in a 90-minute block quarter format instead of the traditional semester format.
Second.
We have a motion by Laura, a second by Evan. Is there any discussion?
Hey, Nathan, I was expecting, or Amy, I was expecting to see, like, is there an exhibit on this? Or is, anything that we point back to on that?
Yeah, well, no, there's not technically an exhibit. We just have to have a board motion that we have approved this. We have done this for, I don't know, as long as I've been here and probably before that, since we've been teaching in a block, just to waive this. So all I type up in this report is attaching our minutes and our rationale for why we want to have PE in a block.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number 703, approval to set public hearing.
Make a motion to set a public hearing for 5 p.m. on Monday, April 27th in the boardroom of the Educational Leadership Center regarding the Oak Ridge Middle School Band Room addition.
Second.
Second by Laura. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Item number 704, approval to set a public hearing.
Motion to set a public hearing for 5 p.m. on Monday, April 27th in the boardroom of Educational Leadership Center regarding the proposed certified budget for fiscal year 2027.
Second.
I have a motion by Midhat and a second by Evan. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? Motion has carried. Item number 705, approval of resolution.
Make a motion to approve the resolution fixing the date of sale of approximately $29,545,000 general obligation school capital loan notes, Series 2026, approving the electronic bidding procedures and approving the official statement.
Second.
That's a motion by Britt and a second by Barry. This requires a roll call vote.
Director Buchholz?
Yes.
Director Foss?
Yes.
Director Langston?
Yes.
Director Mansour? Director Maury?
Yes.
Director Thomas?
Yes.
President Lancaster?
Yes, the motion has carried. Item number 706, approval of resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution declaring an official intent under Treasury Regulation 1.150.2 to issue debt to reimburse the school district for certain original expenditures paid in connection with specific projects.
Second.
We have a motion by Justin and a second by Midhat. Is there any discussion?
Just so you guys are really aware of what this is we've obviously already started parts of this project with the parking lot. So this gives us the ability to go ahead and pay back the fund that we're paying for those out of when we receive the PEPAL notes.
Thank you. This requires a roll call vote.
Director Foss?
Yes.
Director Langston?
Yes.
Director Mansour?
Yes.
Director Maury?
Yes.
Director Thomas?
Yes.
Director Buchholz?
Yes.
President Lancaster?
Yes, the motion has carried. Item number 707, approval of bond and disclosure council.
Motion to approve Ehlers and Cooney, PC, to serve as bond counsel and disclosure counsel for the issuances of approximately $29,545,000 General Obligation School Capital Loan Notes, Series 2026.
Second.
We have a motion by Laura and a second by Britt. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say yes.
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 Any opposed? The motion has carried. We're to item number 800, our consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda with removal of item 805.5.
Second.
We have a motion by Barry and a second by Evan. Is there any discussion? I would like to acknowledge some beloved retirees, if I may. Jill Paulson will be retiring from Novak. Mrs. Van Reenen will be retiring. She has had most of my kiddos, so thank you very much for her time. We also have some additions to our staffing, and so is there any other buddy that we would like? I know, so I'm doing Chad. We welcome you, Chad, Director of High School Teaching and Learning to Associate Superintendent. So welcome, Chad. We also have Stephen Starkey. He will be going from Associate Principal to the Principal's position. Welcome to your first week of work, first month of work, Nathan. Get them all done, get them all hired. All right, do we have any others? All right, is there any other further discussion about our consent agenda? If not, all those in favor?
Yes.
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 Any opposed? Consent agenda has been approved. We're now to 900, our calendar and communications. I'd like to highlight some upcoming board events. Hey, April 16th, it's been a while. Let's talk policies. Policy meeting, I believe it's at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it is here in the boardroom. April 23rd, Finance Audit Committee will meet. Also, April 23rd, School Improvement Advisory Committee will meet. April 27th, board meeting. Anybody? April 27th.
What about it?
Thanks, Britt.
That's the Linn-Mar board meeting.
That's a board meeting.
Oh, it's not city board meeting.
I will be here, but I don't think you need to write it down.
I didn't think we had a choice.
Okay, whoa. Repeat back. I was looking at what we have to fill. So, okay, we'll be here for that one. April 27th. April 30th, Venture Academics Advisory. All right, now look into the big one that I wanted to get at here was to fill. April 16th, we have
That one I am
Britt.
already doing.
We have, then we're going down here. Sorry. Marion. May 7th. I'm out of town.
Me too.
Anybody?
I cannot.
Thanks, Barry. We're going to let you take it.
He said he can't.
Oh, you know what?
I'll take it anyway.
Thanks, Barry. You like volunteering? Okay, May 21st. May 21st.
I'll take it.
Thanks, Laura. All right. I want to make sure that we all see the big, there's some big events here. The Lions and Volunteers Award. I'd love to see folks there. And also May 24th, get that already on your calendar, and then we'll talk about some other issues like parking and arrival time and things like that.
I just want to note the school counselor advisory on May 13th has been canceled.
Oh, well, that's dandy. Okay, thank you very much for that correction.
Do we want to also look at some calendars for a special session?
As we discussed this evening?
Yeah.
We'd like to wait if that's possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
We need a couple more pieces to fall into place.
That's fine. I just want to make sure we
Thank
were
you very
touching
much,
that.
Evan.
That's fine.
We'll be checking with y'all though.
Please rest assured that it is of highest priority.
Yeah, there you go. And it'll be a
Not gonna
special,
do the whole-
it'll be
you
a
are important
special
to us.
session,
Please stay
is
on
my
the line.
understanding, and we will only talk about that item. All right, I have nothing further at this time.
I make a motion to adjourn at 6:53.
6:53, motion by Barry, second by Britt. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? And the motion is carried. Thank you for this meeting tonight.